performance trade expense, or now as we call it, the performance trade allowance, is a sum of money that is given to the trade on top of the gross price reductions. So now the gross price reductions is something that is given non-discriminatory. Now this is in some measure the margin that the trader makes on the net proceeds of sales, or the selling price of the stock keeping unit. Now the performance trade allowance is normally paid based on a scheme or an agreed contract, and the components of it are: number one, listing fees. So this is the fees that is paid to list the products or the barcodes over the competitors, or the contract fees for signing a contract for a period of time, that is usually 1 year. The second component of the performance trade allowance is incentives. So now this is a percentage of the net proceeds of sales that is given for achieving the target set for the trade. And third is a temporary price promotion, or that's a bucket of money that is usually given for promoting your products in the trade. If you think about it, in these days of super malls and even bigger mega malls and key accounts like those of, say, the Walmarts, Tesco's, the Carrefours, or back home here in Australia, Woolies and Coles, the trade dominates a lot of the manufacturers. They have a much bigger bargaining power, and they also have started developing their own private labels. For instance, for Aldi, or Black and Gold from the erstwhile Franklin's, which has now been taken over, or the Best Buys from Coles. Now these are more and more dominating the markets and the consumer's share of money. And a lot of companies are succumbing to this add-on pressure to keep increasing the trade spend. Some smart companies and those that have the expertise are going the Apple way, opening Apple stores, or the Nespresso boutiques, or the Movenpick ice cream parlors, where they are dedicated retail outlets. But the majority of producers of commodity products, of Me Too products, have to pay the trade so that they can come either number one or number two in every single year on the Fortune 500 list without having to produce anything. So I'm talking about these big key accounts. So they don't produce anything, and yet they still make enormous amounts of revenue purely at the back of the manufacturers. The amount of trade spend should be ideally incentivizing the business to continue in that channel with a positive MC, or a positive marginal contribution. Now, performance trade allowance can also be understood in the 4P context: product, placement, promotion, and price. Now, this actually 4P concept clearly illustrates why and where do you need to pay your performance trade allowance or your performance trade expense. Now, the last one is a little bit more complicated, so I'd like to spend a minute or two explaining that. So the trade promotional activities normally includes price promotions and EDLP, which is an everyday low price, or certain coupon activities where you're given a coupon which you can exchange for a discount. There are also free goods to the trade and free goods to the consumer, and certain premiums that you attach onto your SKUs while selling it to your consumers. There are also some specific target incentives which are given to the trade. Now these include turnover objectives, like what are you going to achieve in a certain year, or the distributor annual volume increase, or the volume incentive actually. And then there are sales boosting activities and trade fair allowances. Now, these are just the various components of a temporary price promotion. In short, or in summary, what you're really paying for when you're paying your trade spend is merely the rental fee of the shelf space or the real estate that is certainly commanding a premium at least